guys, welcome back. Been quite some time. Anyway, I'm going to be making braised beef with red wine, mushrooms, and onions today. I know everybody's home, so in this crazy time, we all have a little time to do some stuff in the kitchen. So I'm home too, so I'm gonna make a video today. We'll see how it goes. On my video camera died, so I'm using my iPhone, so we'll see how it goes with the iPhone. So I bought some inexpensive, well, beef isn't very cheap right now. It's kind of going up, but this was $2.99 a pound, so it's cheaper than ground beef. This is beef shoulder or top round. I bought that from a local store here called Vallarta's, and it's like 3 pounds. It's a 3-pound piece. I got some mushrooms from Costco, just some cheap red wine from Costco, some rosemary from my garden, and onion. I'm gonna need some milk, butter, flour too, and some chicken. Excuse me, this is a beef base. So let me start going. I'll show you what I'm gonna do. So we're gonna start by cutting up these vegetables. Now we want to large dice everything, meaning that they're gonna be big chunks because this is gonna be a long braising process, a 3-hour braising process, and that will have these vegetables cooked to almost nothing after the 3 hours. So for the onions, you're just gonna wanna rough cut them like that, just in the big chunks. And for the mushrooms, just cut them kind of thick slice, kind of like that. All right, I'm gonna finish up real fast. Get back to you in a minute. So we're gonna cook this over high heat. Just need a little bit of butter. That's about two tablespoons of butter. We'll let that melt, and we're gonna saute these over high heat. Now that we got the butter melted, we're just gonna add our veggies and let them cook down a little bit. We'll add a little bit of salt, some black pepper, and this is just Costco pre-cut garlic. I'll use this just for quick, easy. But you can add granulated garlic too if you like. Now, while your vegetables are cooking, you're going to get your meat going here. So we're going to just liberally salt it. Black pepper. And some granulated garlic. Now, last thing we're going to do is we're going to dust this with flour. So just put some flour on there. And now we're going to let that rest for about 5 minutes, and then we'll be good to go with that. Now my veggies are starting to saute up nicely. Almost ready. Now we're going to get a cast iron pan, and we're going to get this screaming hot. We want to put this on as high as you can put it, and we're going to brown the meat in it. You're going to want to use a high temperature oil. You're not going to want to use olive oil for this because it will burn and start smoking. So we're going to use just a high temperature oil. So I just have vegetable oil, soybean oil, whatever you want to call it. I'm letting that get hot. I'm going to turn on the vent fan. Now that this is hot, it's almost to the smoking point. It's starting to glisten. We're going to get our meat and put it right in there and let it cook. It's important to put a good brown on your meat, to really brown it well. That'll add a lot of flavor when it comes time to heat it. It'll just have a lot more flavor. Now I'm going to warm up 2 cups of milk in the microwave. It's just going to help the sauce I'm going to make, the braising liquid to braise this with, just make it go faster when I go to combine it. Now these vegetables have come together pretty good. Got a good brown in the pan. What we're going to do is I'm going to add some more butter. I'm adding 3 more tablespoons of butter to this. It's going to help thicken it up when it comes time to add all the ingredients to it. Now that you got your fat all melted in there, we're going to add the flour. This is just some of the flour I used to dust the meat. I'm just going to put 2 tablespoons of flour in there. Mix this up. Oop, made a mess. Let's let that flour cook a little bit for just a couple minutes. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a good tablespoon of beef base in a cup. I'm going to add hot water to it. And that's the first thing I'm going to do to start deglazing this pan. The first side of this meat has been browned, so we're going to flip it. See, it's a good browning. I'm going to let the other side brown up. So I'm going to add 2 cups of this beef stock with the base in there. Let's stir this up and make sure we get all the base in there. And now I'm putting this up to high because I want this to come to a quick boil. And then I'm going to add the milk to it. Oh, almost forgot. I'm going to add about, I don't know, a half a cup or so of, this is just red wine from Costco. Now we've got a good simmer going here. We're going to add that warm milk. And that's the color you want right there. I'm going to add some salt. Another crack of black pepper. A couple sprigs of fresh rosemary. I'll let this cook for about 10 minutes. So now that the beef is all browned on both sides, we got a good brown on both sides. I'm just going to put it in the pan. I washed that original pan. I'm just going to put it in this pan, and that's the pan we're going to braise it in. So this pan that I braised it in did have a lot of good, you see there's a lot of good stuff stuck on the bottom there. We're going to deglaze it with a little more wine. Just scratch the bottom up to get all those good flavorful juices up. And that's reduced by about half now. I put about 4 tablespoons on. It's reduced to about 2 tablespoons. As you can see, there's about 2 tablespoons left in the pan. So what I'm going to do is lower this down. This is going pretty good, so I'm going to lower this down. I'm going to add these juices right to that pan. And if you notice, it is kind of thin, so I'm going to thicken this up a little bit more. I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So I have a small saute. I'm just going to put about 2 tablespoons of butter in there, just to let that melt. And we're going to make a roux to thicken this up a little bit. So we got that butter almost all melted. I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of flour to it here. Let that flour suck up all that fat to make a nice roux. Let this cook for just a minute or two. We don't want to burn this. We just want this to be blonde, meaning we want it to stay yellow. We don't want it to turn brown. So I'm cooking over a low fire just to keep it more, a light colored roux. Now I've brought this roux up, cooked it for about 2 minutes, got it nice, and we're just going to add this right to this. And you see it's just floating on top there, just whip it in. It will thicken this right up. There. That's a good consistency. Is just ladle this sauce over the top of this meat and then prepare it for the oven. Here we go. And then add a couple more fresh sprigs of rosemary right on top. And let me show you how to wrap this up for the oven. First thing you want to do is get some parchment, put a little parchment over the top. And then after you got parchment, you get a little shrink wrap or stretch or saran wrap, whatever kind of wrap you have. You make a good seal with the wrap. Because this is what's going to help in the braising. It being sealed up so it can steam itself and braise really well. Cook itself up really well. And everybody goes, why are you doing it that way? Well, I put the parchment so if the stretch wrap happens to melt, it won't melt on our meat. It'll just stick to the parchment. And the stretch wrap's really just a gasket. And we're going to put a piece of foil over the top. Last thing, we're going to put a piece of foil over the top. And we'll be good to go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this in the oven at 350 for 3 to 3.5 to 4 hours, depending how much time you have. The longer you leave it, the better it turns out. I would suggest not going over 4 hours, but 3 hours is sufficient, but 3.5, I'm going to do probably 3.5 hours. So I'm going to throw it in the oven, come see you in a few hours. All right, so it should be just about done. It's been 3+ hours. So I'm going to pull this out, and we're going to check it out in just a second. All right, so when you pull this foil off, it's going to be a lot of steam and it's going to be pretty hot, so be careful. See the steam coming out? And there's the meat all braised up. Get rid of this. This is thickened up quite a bit. And the meat you can just cut with a spoon. So I'm gonna plate some up for you guys and show you what it's like. There you go, guys, some old school cuisine. Some braised beef with onions and mushrooms, a twice baked potato, and some steamed broccoli. I'll do another video on these potatoes one of these days when I get around to it. But hopefully you enjoyed this and it comes out. So thanks for watching, guys. God bless. Have a great day.